Moving on, we have the COO of Star with us. Mr. Sanjay Gupta has had a background in the telecom industry, and of course now he's in the television industry, so who better than him to really be able to look into this aspect that Mr. Sarkar has mentioned. But he's got lots to look at, and that is not just the stars in the sky, but the stars facing down south as well. His focus is to make South Indian television viewing far more prominent among various other things as well. So, of course, you know what his name means. It means victorious, triumphant, and so I hand over to Mr. Sanjay Gupta.
Thank you. Good morning and a warm welcome to each one of you. My regards to Ms. Amita Sarkar, my friend and colleague Sudhanshu Vats, Mr. Mathur, Mr. Jawahar Sarkar, and our Honorable Minister, Colonel Rathod. Let me step back. As we plan to get to $100 billion, it's critical that we step back and observe with a dispassionate lens our performance with respect to what we set out to achieve 3 years back. On an absolute level, accentuated by the rapid devaluation of the rupee, we have barely added $2 billion in last 3 years. And that is when we said that we want to achieve $100 billion. We had spoken that this industry, media, which is 0.8% of the GDP today, will get to 1.5% of GDP in next 10 years, in next decade. However, in the last 3 years, media as a percentage of GDP has only come down by 2 basis points. The $100 billion dream remains as distant as it was 3 years back. And the fundamental question is, what ails us? Among a plethora of existing explanations, the most important reason I attribute our stagnant existence to is the choking of investment. Breakout growth has a fairly recognizable footprint of investment that it leaves behind. Businesses either generate large profits internally, which are invested back into the business, or they grow on the back of external investments, domestic or international. Our industry boasts of neither. The media and entertainment sector in last 15 years has barely seen any new entrant and has seen $4 billion of FDI out of a total of $400 billion which has come into India. To get to $100 billion, we must find an additional investment of at least $50 billion over the next decade. A proposition that seems rather tough given our past track record. So why has the flow of capital in media choked? The reason is simple. The media business is an unattractive destination for investments. Investors would much rather pump in billions of dollars into loss-making e-commerce setups driven by a fiercely attractive end state than choose to invest in the fragmented and unprofitable business of media. Most media business in India face a severe challenge with monetization and suffer from extremely poor returns on investment. Beneath the rosy 12% year-on-year growth that we talk about, which I'm sure all of us refer to, lies a sector with unprofitable verticals. Allow me to elaborate. Let's take sports as an industry. It's a $2 billion industry, rearing to become $10 billion in the next 5 years. There's been no dearth of new sporting leagues in this country, and audiences have only gobbled it up, be it hockey, football, kabaddi, or badminton. Yet the industry is nowhere near taking off on the back of these investments. Let me take an example of a sport which is close to my heart, kabaddi. We've been investing close to 200 crore rupees every season for the last 2 years. The game has captured the imaginations of Indians across the nation, and we believe that investment should break even in next few years. However, to do so, we need to scale up the volume of content. We need more teams, more players, and many more days of kabaddi in a year. And yet a bizarre challenge faces us. Punjab and Haryana contribute large number of kabaddi players. Yet as we think of increasing and adding number of teams, we cannot have teams based in Punjab and Haryana in either of these two states. Why? Because these two states do not have a single indoor stadium that can host a kabaddi match. The situation in our largest metropolitan, Mumbai, is not any different. We have just one indoor facility, and which is not actually a sports stadium, an CII dome. The biggest constraint in expanding kabaddi is the availability of this facility for a larger number of days. One venue for a city with over 1,000 local kabaddi clubs just doesn't seem adequate, does it? So it is not the consumer interest or the ability to invest that is coming in the way. The sporting infrastructure required to support a sporting nation of our scale just doesn't exist. Even worse, there is no plan to change this at this stage. Same is the issue in movies business. And I'm sure all of you are aware, with around 7,000 screens, India has one of the lowest screen densities in the world. In spite of many breakthrough stories, be it Queen, PK, or Bajrangi Bhaijaan, the revenues have been stagnant, while the cost of creating content, creating these movies, have steadily gone up in the last decade. Hence, Bollywood, which sets a billion hearts racing, earns no money. Yes, a billion-dollar industry with zero profits. In the absence of a robust business model, news channels have no money to invest in their business. Whether you are an English or a regional news channel, whether you are the number one channel or the last, none of the news channels make any money. And the question is why? Because none of these channels earn any money from subscription. Globally, subscription forms as much as 60 to 70% of the total earnings of a news channel. A must provide for content owners with no must carry for operators skews negotiation in favor of platforms. And if this was not enough, all content aggregators like MediaPro and MSM were disbanded, rendering these singular channels quite helpless. Forced to pay carriage to survive what should have been a revenue line item, some of these channels have been replaced by a cost line item. How will this business ever make money? The quality of news in our country should not be a surprise to any one of us. It's an outcome of choices we have made. Let me take another example, television distribution, which is roughly a third of total value of the media industry. In last few years, large amount of investments have been made in both DTH as well as cable. However, the tragedy of this sector is that even after many years of continued investment, not a single company or a business makes money. Since the sector is considered a basic need from a consumer point of view, the prices at which content is sold by creators to platform is regulated. Prices that were frozen in 2003 and haven't changed in the last 12 years. In the same period of 12 years, even the price of milk, which contributes significantly to a household purchase basket, has gone up from rupees 12 to 15 rupees a litre to rupees 35 to 40 rupees a litre, a threefold increase. And yes, this is an issue critical and making the entire television industry bleed. But this gets worse. Take the example of Delhi. The moment the new state government came into power, they doubled the entertainment tax. It is regrettable that distributors pay almost 1/3 of their revenues as entertainment tax for a business and for a content which is seen as a basic consumer need, and prices are controlled. The real unfortunate part is the lack of political alignment and consistency of policy in this sector, rendering it impossible to plan a sustainable business model. The media and entertainment policy paradigm seems to have been designed to keep serious investment and serious growth just outside our grasp, perennially. A reactive, shuffling and constraining set of regulations aimed at controlling and managing rather than developing and fostering. What can only be described as an erstwhile overhang of the sensitivity around the news media has crept its way across all media verticals. How else do you explain that in 2015, where millennials across the country get their daily dose of news from their Facebook feed, we allow radio broadcasters, the FM broadcasters, to air news snippets only from the All India Radio? In the United States, radio has gone hyper-local, and people spend almost an hour listening to radio every day. This in turn gives a fillip to local brands by making available a quick and cheap platform to build a business. In India, not only have we limited the number of radio stations per city, but also limited the content that they can put on air. No news please will find it difficult to monitor and control what you say. Is that right? In a digital era where millions of people are delivering news, not surprising that even in large cities where FM exists, the time spent on radio in India, in big cities, metros, is less than 5 minutes a day. How on earth would this industry ever make money? Investors look for a certain and fertile investing environment. We have provided them with neither. So when existing businesses look to root their modest returns out of this sector, can we blame them? Sadly for media, the flow of capital is choked and we need to unblock the capital. The only question remains, how? Clarity on objectives is a crying need for this sector. We need to understand that a number like $100 billion in isolation doesn't mean anything. We need to delve deeper into the constituents of this aspiration. There's an urgent need to make distribution profitable, a great opportunity to position animation as the next wave of export-oriented growth, support a serious scale-up of exhibition screens and sports stadium, and to allow content innovation on radio and many other mediums. We need a hugely attractive pitch for domestic and international investors, giving them clarity on the policy environment for the next 10 years and confidence of generating sizable returns on the investments. Up till now, all stakeholders, us, businesses, policymakers, and regulators have been happy with status quo and incrementalism. In the last 15 years, the leaders have remained on top, the followers have remained behind, and everybody has been content. This new era, on the back of technology, will upset all of this, as it has in every other sector, be it automobiles, financial institutions, or even grocery shopping. Dramatic growth and big disruptions have been made possible by serious flow of capital. I believe that media will see brave new entrepreneurs, disruptive ideas, and unconventional media business models. But for all this to happen, we need to provide the framework to unlock the capital. Thank you.